everybody, welcome in. Happy Tuesday evening. We did this last night. We're going to do it again, shall we? I'm Steven, along with Nate, part of the Scott Fishbowl Avi Makers team. We're going to be doing some more live creations here this Tuesday evening. If you're still awake, if you're still watching, go ahead and share this with everybody that you know. I'm going to bring this up and see if I can also do this. Get your SFB Avi's at, and boom, we're gonna save that. We're gonna pop that up on the screen so everybody knows where to go, what to do. Nate, we're gonna take this straight from the beginning. We don't know what we're creating. I'm kind of scared to death.
You and me both. You and me both.
But again, kind of along the same lines of what we did. We want to take it a step further back and show everybody what goes into the very beginnings of how the entire team makes their selections, goes on with everything that they do here. I'm going to share my screen here. You built this site, so you're the mastermind behind sfbavimakers.com, and it has done a fantastic job so far, because as of a little bit ago, we are at $3,400 raised. Incredible that we're already at that number. It's looking like we're going to shatter what we did last year for this, and there's still a lot of people who have not even been assigned a division, so plenty more work to come for us and the rest of the group here. But let's just dive right into it. Kind of, if you want to talk people through here what the process is, and I'll try and follow the mouse as we move along here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So there was a little bit of trying to figure out what we were going to need. So like I am a website designer from, that's my 9 to 5. I do, graphic design work as well, and all that stuff. That's what we do at, the Avi Makers, between us all. But when I came in, I was really looking for what can I do? What can I donate to really, make an impact much more than just doing the work, bringing people awesome Avies during this season. I connected with Clint and asked him, like, hey, do you guys have a website? And he's like, no, we do everything. I think last year everything was done through Twitter DMs and just a PayPal
Google
transaction.
Forms, yeah.
Yeah. So, part of what I do is find solutions to problems. And so I noticed this was a major organizational problem. And, it just came from the fact that really the Avi Makers, from the history that I've gathered, have been, it just kind of happened, like a couple guys, I think Jake Anderson and Clint Followell. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Fantasy Pastor, essentially.
That Fantasy Pastor.
Yeah, they just decided to start doing these and give to charity, and it just kind of grew into what we've got today. So I took a look at it and said, like, hey, I can offer this. And they're like, you know what? That's awesome. Go for it. So I designed and put it all together, and part of that was anticipating the needs. Specifically organizational, which was like, if you go over to the client orders, so everyone knows the front end probably by now. We've had over 1,000 hits just today, so people know the process going in.
The orders have flown in.
Right, exactly. So we set this up. It's a simple, like, e-commerce website, and when the orders come through, at the beginning, we had a little mix up because the way I had it set up, it was coming through as the orders are completed, which means if you made the payment, then you got like an immediate email like, hey, your order's done. It's like, no, it wasn't. So I had to go through and make some fixes. Yeah, had to make some fixes on the fly. But essentially what comes through for us is it's either a completed order or processing order at this point. The newer ones are processing. So just go into any of these completed orders. Just pick,
all right. So am I picking yours here? Is this what you're gonna? roll with, or are we
Oh,
gonna?
man. Um,
Do you want to pick a name? Any name?
Josh Kroll. I don't know if that just sticks out to me. Grateful Dead. Okay, so one of the things I've
The
been kind of
Dancing
sticking
Bear.
towards is my strength is probably in the more grunge designs. That's what
You
I've
want me
been
to
kind of
tackle
doing.
this one? I can tackle
It,
this one if
if
you
you're a
want.
deadhead, I would definitely
I'm
definitely
not.
go with that.
I have a lot of friends who are.
Yeah,
Um,
it's it's not that I couldn't, jump in and do most of these. It's like I really get enjoyment from doing the more grungy design. So,
yeah,
it's kind of my preference at this point. And there's so many orders out there that heck, I think I can take a preference.
yeah,
But I did want to show them the back end as far as
yeah.
like what we're
Here
seeing.
we'll go into this one here.
Yeah.
Backstreet Boys. You want that one?
Um,
I'm picking good ones for.
actually, that's delivered. Hey,
Is
that
it?
one's delivered.
Uh
Yeah.
oh.
You
All
see the
right.
message right there. So let's
Uh-oh.
put that on
Finished.
finish. There
Boom.
we go. We just boom, there it is. There's the live stream. We just finished up. Uh,
Hey.
but here's the message that comes through to us. If you want to just jump back in, um, just to show
Here,
everybody.
let's do Aaron here. Another
Yeah.
Grateful Dead.
But
I'm
so
picking
you
good.
can
Oh,
see
anyway, yeah, here.
right,
Let's
right, right.
guide us
So
here.
you see we get the information for like your email, we get when it comes through, and then all of the questions that you answered, your Twitter handle, the division, all those kind of come through. And then this one doesn't have it, but if you upload a design, the upload link is right there for us. Which
Right.
we found out that there's some of us design on mobile, and this hasn't worked out the greatest for them. But that's something that we're still working on. Uh, but yeah, so this is what we see, and then we just go in and pick. Let's see if we can't find. I'm gonna look on my end. Um,
I'm
actually,
just
I
gonna
took
click
one.
around until I find something here. Third Eye Blind.
I
Did
think I took one earlier. Maybe I'll just grab that one. Because it was a Paramore, which is
you got
my
Fish?
There we go. I'm going with
You
Scott
do Paramore?
Wilterdink. Yeah,
Okay.
he is in my he's in my division, so
There
why
you
don't we
go.
go that way? I haven't done any prep for this. All I did was happen to notice that I recognized that name, so I put myself on it. So here we go, Scott. Hopefully you're watching. Hopefully that's not going to be a problem that I'm doing it on air, and if you don't like it, then I don't know. It's for charity. Um, that is what
And
we're.
I'll take Josh's here for this one doing this Grateful Dead. So we're gonna flip flop between screens here as we go back and forth. This is Nate's. This is mine. So really, I mean, from a design standpoint, a lot of it does kind of start with some simplistic Google searching, just
Yeah,
to
you got
see
to
what we have
collect
to
the
work with.
assets.
Yeah,
Yeah. You gotta collect the assets. The one thing that, with in his preferences, he asked about putting the SFB 11 as a tattoo on each member where they have exposed skin. So outside of that, he doesn't seem to have any other preferences. So what we need to do here is we need to find a close enough shot so that I have skin to work with these guys. So let's see. I don't know if they want facial tattoos, so that might not be. Let's see here. The other thing is what I can do is I can cut out the people and put them in closer. Cut out Haley Williams and the Farrow brothers. Um,
anyone and everyone.
yeah, trying to see if I can't find something good here.
And kind of along the same lines of what Bob and I discussed last night. This is a lot of trial and error
Hmm.
with what we do and making sure that it all fits, it all does what it needs to do. Joey, we got in here. What we got here? Let's see some happy trees. I don't know if I can drop in some trees on Grateful Dead. I don't know if that's gonna work out, but we can do our best here. Haley Williams needs a fishbowl teardrop tattoo. There
Nice.
we
Yeah.
go.
Actually,
Okay. We're gonna give you some ideas here.
it might I'm thinking about this one. It might not be everyone gets a tattoo. Maybe I could throw a neck tattoo in there, but this is a pretty good canvas right here on Haley Williams for like a nice fishbowl tat. Um Checking down
Oh, yeah,
here.
right
The
there
other
on the
thing
arm.
that Yeah, the other thing to keep in mind, and I didn't even start off with this, uh, image sizes are important.
Oh, yes,
People,
they are.
outside of design don't necessarily understand that, the image size on your computer screen doesn't always translate, and pixelation is a big thing. So this one's 500 by 293. It's kind of small for what we want to do. So I'm actually going to have to go back up here and resort and make sure we are looking in large images. So that kind of starts everything back over. If you want to click over to your side, I'll keep
Yeah,
looking and
absolutely.
see what you got for Grateful Dead there.
Yeah, so I've got this. Like you
Oh wow.
mentioned, there's some fuzziness to the pictures, and that's one of the biggest things. Like you said, we got to fight with is just finding something that is uh correct, I guess, in terms of what it brings to the table and what we needed to do. I'm trying to see if we can find a variation of this logo that's a little bit more clean. And I'm not finding anything. So we might have to adjust on the fly here and just use what we got, which isn't the end of the world. Not a big
Hmm.
deal. But looking at this, what they wanted, tie dye for preferences. The Grateful Dead dancing bear. If you're not familiar with the dancing bear, it's what this sucker looks like right here.
Oh,
Um,
there you go.
Deadheads are, man. It's an interesting crew. It's a very interesting crew that listens to him here. I'm trying to see if there's something I can do here. Hmm. Let's do this. Because the easy part's going to be finding a tie dye background and really incorporating all of that in together. I mean, those will be, a dime a dozen for what we do. So really, and if you're still not into getting your avatar yet, if you're in Scott Fishbowl, or even if you might be in the satellites, those are coming. There's over almost 2,000 spots for that as well. I'm going to teach people here how to search for large images because it is a very important thing. Google, go to tools. If you do upload anything, if you upload logos, whatever, tools, size, large. Ta-da. So let's do that. That one's watermarked. There we go. This one looks good. We'll take this one. Tie-dye swirl.
Oh
File.
goodness.
Here we go. So we'll bring this in like so. Drag it back here, and here we have our Grateful Dead. So I mean, honestly, the easy way around this logo is going to be putting the fishbowl in the skull. I mean,
Hmm.
that's about as easy as we're gonna get here, with how we're going to incorporate this. So we're gonna take eraser here, a little bit too big.
I was watching last night when you used that magic eraser tool, and it brought me back to early classes on Adobe, Adobe Creative Suite. and I completely forgot about that. Like, that magic eraser tool, it's funny because there's so many ways to do the same thing, and each of them can be
Exactly.
a little more efficient than the other. And that magic eraser tool, when it's just, "Hey, it deletes a color." I'm like, "Man, that's great."
This is all I needed to do, and it did its job. End of story. Yeah, it's definitely the easy route for what we look to do here. And again, when we have as many uh avatars that we need to go through, that we need to get done, I mean, it's vital that we try and find the most time effective way to do
Mhm.
these, because again, they will come fast and furious, and really be almost a challenge to an extent. And again, we thank everybody that has done this so far, and has submitted a request for an avatar, because this year we happen to have a lot more banners as well compared to years past, which is saying a lot. Because we were talking about this a little bit earlier in the chat with all the designers, and man, I do not remember it being this busy, and it's as good of a situation as you can possibly imagine, especially when you're raising money for something like Fantasy Cares here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things that's led towards more banners is just there's a question when you go through and fill out um your purchase order for an Avi, that asks, do you want a banner? And now I will say that I've always made my own Avis in the past, so I hadn't really like purchased an Avi from SFB Avi makers. So I wasn't aware that you guys were even doing Twitter banners. So I think now it's a little more in the forefront a bit there, and people have that option.
Yeah, it's definitely taken off, and obviously with as much as um people want to have their whole site, or their whole profile match, it does go a long way. um I'm gonna do the magic eraser. The magic eraser is back. This tolerance thing I'm messing with,
Mhm.
this varies on how much of a color it's going to take away from a given area. I'm gonna see if this works here. Then we're gonna cut out the fishy mouth like so. How's yours coming along here? How you doing?
Pretty good. I came up with two images that I think will work for this. I got Haley singing, and then I've got, these guys in the back here with enough skin between both of them. I think I can put a nice like neck tattoo here of the Scott Fishbowl, and then I got some arms in here. And what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to take Haley out of this one and bring this one in and kind of combine the two. One tool that I'm not sure, if you used or not, but is very new is this object selection tool. This thing has cut down my workload, I should say, very
Significantly.
quickly. Yeah, look at that. Now it's not necessarily completely perfect. I go through and clean things up here, but I mean, for a first grab, like it got the zipper there. Like that's pretty awesome. Here we'll get the shoulder a little bit more if it'll work for me. Yeah. And what it'll allow me to do, there's no way. I mean, how do you handle wispy hair like this?
Uh, that's a tough thing. That's a really tough thing.
Yeah.
I kind of want to find that picture and see what my thing does.
Yeah,
You
let's give
just
that a shot.
hold on. You
Uh,
said Haley Williams.
yeah, this was a little difficult to
Okay,
find. I
let me
went
see
through
if
quite
I
a
can.
few.
Oh,
Background
there it
and
is. Got
researcher.
it.
What is that? Oh,
So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna open up a new thing here and see if this works. I'm gonna
not
try
the
this.
tolerance.
Okay. So under properties of these pictures, there's this remove background button, which is my best friend,
Hmm.
and it's going to hopefully take out because it's that frizzy hair
It's
like
the
that.
yeah, it's the frizzy hair. That's the
It's
problem.
tough. It is really tough. Um, for a lot of pictures, it's literally a one and done, and this is all I have to touch, and it's the
Yep.
greatest thing in the world. But yeah, there's at this point, it just becomes a two color system where you draw in black to erase the parts that the AI didn't catch, um,
Hmm.
and then go from
Yeah.
there. So
Put a mask on. That's I think I'm gonna go with this. Like as it looks, it's a little, crummy. I'm just gonna clean it up real quick. But I think frizzy hair be gone. You don't really notice it too much. Like it
no,
still looks like an action shot. And then we're gonna overlay it on top of some stuff. So let me just go through and clean this up a bit. Let me get my harder brush. It's pretty good. And so what I'm doing here is just creating a mask, which is like telling the computer, I don't like this set of pixels, so it removes it. And it really lets you get in there. It kind of went over. Let's see, actually, if I do that, I don't want to do that. This is probably going to be the boring part where I'm just,
well, I mean, the concentration, especially when you're going around, the tighter corners, and you want to get everything just right.
mhm.
It does take its time. It does, have its like you said, the boring moments. But that's one of those things where what is required, and it's not always the wows and the how'd you do that, but really just kind of fine tuning everything.
Yep, absolutely. So while I'm doing this, we are in Scott Fishbowl.
We are.
Who'd you end up with for your division, and what's your slot?
So I am the 101 in the Queen division. I love Queen. Everything about the band Queen, I just the
Mhm.
music has held for so long, and I'm like, it's either got to be Queen. I'm big on Weezer too, so Weezer was my backup. But thankfully got placed in a pretty awesome group, an international group. It turns out as well. We have a lot of overseas players in the Queen division, which just obviously happens to make sense given that they were from the UK. But it all worked out. How about yourself?
That's pretty awesome. I'm in the Paramore division. I am slot 6, and, there's only 4 of us in there right now, and we haven't really connected yet. I've, put out a couple feelers to see what's up, but I think once we get more people into, that division, it might become more active. Uh, so what I'm
Yeah,
actually gonna do here,
I mean,
use a
with a
pen
lot of
tool.
those, you will run into, if and again, this goes for anybody that's playing. Don't get bent out of shape if things kind of haven't taken off. And I know that the same goes with some of the pit groups as well. And if you haven't joined your pit group, there are several of them out there. I know a few of them have already had to hop over to Discord because they've gotten so
Mhm.
large, and Twitter has said, nope, can't add anybody else. And given the fact that there are 160 divisions this year, uh, it's you got to do something. I don't know why Twitter just won't,
Yeah,
expand things. That'd be nice.
it's also kind of a pain because when you get into those very large um, group chats, it just becomes crazy. If
Oh yeah.
5 people are messaging, that message will go real quick. And consider that with, 75 to 100, it's just like you can't keep up.
Yeah,
Uh,
it does take a lot to try and keep up with it. I mean, I hate saying this, but it is kind of like a mute
yeah.
situation because you would literally have your phone would die just from dealing with all of the notifications that go with
Mhm.
the different groups. So it's one of those things where you don't necessarily want to keep it open, I guess, for what it's worth. Um, okay, let's see here. I think I've got the gist of this complete. It's just a matter of getting some things sized just right, and of course, Photoshop does not want to cooperate at all. Da, da, da.
Shoot.
So yeah, it's
Alrighty.
just speaking of, I know there's been a lot of different strategies that have gone into what everyone, you know, is anticipating because it's interesting that the setup for this year really the only two differences uh compared to last year versus this year. There's a third round reversal.
Mhm.
So instead of the 101 getting pick 301, they're 312, which I don't mind really all that much. But
It's
outside of that, there's
interesting.
kickers too. There's kickers.
Yeah.
That's the
And
part
the
I'm trying
scoring for
to figure out.
kickers is supposed to be, like, making them relevant. So, man, so, like, you're gonna wanna get a consistent kicker, right? Like, that's the plan of having them in there.
I trying to remember what I saw. Shout out to Linda. I'm gonna butcher Linda's Twitter handle here because I know it's not how it's pronounced. But Lindelians, I believe that's
Oh, okay.
how it
Yeah, I know who
is.
that is. Yep.
She's a huge proponent of kickers. You will not find somebody that is a larger proponent of kickers than Linda. And she put something out talking about how honestly, you should consider them. I think I could be wrong in this, but you should consider them around like pick 110, which is crazy. I mean, it's a kicker, uh, just based on the way that things are with the what people consider kickers to be, um,
Right.
which I mean, I'm in that camp of I'm never going to have a Justin Tucker on my team. I'm never going to have a another top tier guy on my
Greg
team because it's
Zuerlein,
like
Greg the Leg.
Greg the I mean, any of those guys. It's just
Yeah.
like, okay, well, it's not something I really want to,
Mhm.
waste capital on, especially uh, in a position that feels kind of volatile. And I know people
Mm.
might argue with me on that point that it is not as volatile as I might consider it to be, but yeah, I'm a little worried about that, if anything, with
Mhm.
the scoring this year.
Yeah, it's an interesting wrinkle. I play a lot of IDP, and obviously I come from my website is IDP guys. So I'm a big proponent in like realism in our foot, like being a real GM, getting both sides of the ball, and so I've never really been on board with the like get rid of kickers. Um, but at the same time, I just could not imagine myself deciding between like a let's see, Josh Jacobs, Austin Eckler, or Justin Tucker. Like that conversation doesn't work well in my head.
Yeah, it's man, I'm trying to think of just players I would feel comfortable with drafting a kicker over them. Uh man, I don't know where that stands. I have to do so many damn mocks ahead of when this kicks off because I feel like I'm just going to lose my mind and I'm going to get caught behind something that you know I should know better, except
Mhm.
I just don't. Um, but that again part of the game with what we have going on here.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm gonna flip back over to mine here. So this is where we're at on this.
you're a lot
One,
farther than me.
you wanted the bear. I'm trying to figure
Yeah,
out the bear. There's like it's like gummy bears. There's like so many different colors, and I'm not really sure where to go on this, but we're gonna try this and hope that it works. Let's see here. We're gonna stick Mr. Bear out of the side of the logo. I don't know if that's gonna work. I wish that the bear had some type of hmm. I gotta think about this one. This one's giving me some trouble with the logo that was uploaded because you don't necessarily want to obviously we want to get as close to what you guys the donators are wanting out of
mhm.
this. um hmm, because they all have like the same there's a group of them, they all kind of have the same look and feel. But we're gonna try this. I think we found something here. We're gonna make a rainbow of bears.
There you go.
I don't know if this is going to work, but we're gonna give it a shot. Again, a lot of trial and error, just with a lot of what we do here.
Oh,
Bob, are
yeah.
you serious?
Oh my god.
Okay, I'm not gonna bring the comment up on the thing,
Yeah.
Bob. I hope you're all right. Um, man. Okay. Uh, let's see here. So we're gonna take our bear. We're gonna cut out our bear. We're going to make a bunch of walking bears along the top of our logo here and see if this works. I don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to give it a shot. Let's see here. And again, I mean this is the other thing too. Like we've kind of been at the artwork for all this for a few weeks now. You'll notice all of the banners that are on the pages on scottfishbowl.com. Those were also done by our group as well. And shout out to Mark in Michigan, Mark and MI,
Yeah.
for looking for the handle there. Made such an easy template for the group of us to hammer out and put all of them together. Maddie, Big Chest, Jordan.
Mhm.
Also, I mean, they I feel like they did like a ton of them, and by the time it was all said and done, we're like, all right, and they're like, oh nope, we're all done. It's like, oh, that was easy.
Yeah, no, I wanted to get into that. I just man, I had a bunch of client work to do and couldn't get to it, and it was so quick for them. Like they were just boom, done with like 15 of them at once. It was crazy.
It's like next, off we
Yeah.
go. Okay, I've got two more here. Let's see if this will work. Okay. I'm gonna cut this one.
Want to soften. First off, two, two. Just layers.
Okay. Last bear. Don't have to cut the last bear out. All good here. Bring this bear in. Enter and over. All right. Bear's a little tiny. Let's make the bear a little bit bigger.
Oh, that looks good. I was actually going to suggest that would be great if they were like marching around
It's
the
amazing
logo.
what's on Google and like what's available
Yeah.
in terms of just artwork in general. And you're like, wow, that would work really well. And it ends up working really well. Makes our lives significantly easier. So we're gonna bring this in. I knew this was gonna happen. So I'm gonna take that. I gotta redo the tie dye because it is all
Mm,
sorts of messed up because I resized everything and I'm, for whatever dumb reason, made the paint of the red and the blue a portion of the tie-dye layer, so that's not going to change its shape. Makes it a little bit harder, but just a small detour. No biggie.
mhm.
Okay, so we've got that. We've got the bears as requested. We've got the tie-dye as requested. Now, the only things remaining, we got to go back into this order here. Any site affiliation or logo, nothing there. So as far as I'm concerned, we just have the Twitter handle. I'm going to see if we can find a Grateful Dead font. That's the other thing that we really run into more often than not, is trying to find a font that works.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. I use Font Squirrel a lot. That's a pretty good one. Trying to think where else. Honestly, Adobe fonts, like what they
Yep.
bought up. I can't remember. There was a app. Adobe likes to buy up smaller entities and incorporate it into the Creative Cloud. And I can't remember what entity it was, but they had just a a ton of fonts, and Adobe bought it, and now it's like available. And those are can be pretty good as well, and they're commercially allowed
Yes.
because it's
Which is
Adobe.
vital in a
Yeah.
lot of projects, is very vital. Um, Let's see if yeah, I mean, and the nice thing is like those types of sites slowly but surely are becoming more common,
Mhm.
which is nice because I mean, heck, you go back 10 years, it was a very small group of websites that basically controlled the entire market. And it's either their way or the highway with everything that they did. Um, and unfortunately, uh, the amount of, I guess, monopolization and just price increases that they threw on just did not uh, do do really anybody any justice
Yeah.
for what
Well,
uh, is needed
the
out
way
there
you
for
gotta look at
designers.
it yeah, the way you gotta look at it is, a lot of these companies are creating these products for businesses, and when you get into business, like sales and everything, man, the prices just inflate so much, um, because someone is then creating a profit over your product, so they wanted a piece of that. That's why Adobe, early on was you bought one program for like $1,000. Like it was ridiculous. The trade-off is now it's a subscription where I pay $50 a month until I die. So I will pay way more than that $1,000. Um, so that's what we got.
You got
A
the
little bit
pay
of
to
a
play
trade-off.
model now, and really, for as many, I hate saying this, but I mean, there were so many uh, knockoffs and just illegal softwares out there of people just ripping Adobe for everything. Um, Definitely makes it easier for Adobe to basically be like, guess what? Everything's going behind a paywall now, and you can either pay for it or, you know,
Mhm.
piss off. Basically, what they told everybody.
Yeah.
Which again, it has its ups and downs. You get all the automatic updates. Uh, apps more than others for Adobe. They are more accustomed to improving and you know, adding various things too. But all right, I think I'm good here. The only other thing I'm going to add a stroke around this, um, just to give it a little bit of pop on the Grateful Dead logo.
Mhm.
All right, what we got here? What do you got?
I'm actually looking pretty good here.
You are.
So I cut out, Haley. I put the guys behind her. I'll actually show a little bit more. So what I'm doing is actually using two programs. So I'm piecing everything together in Illustrator, and I used Photoshop to, create them together. And I did a little bit of added effect to create kind of synergy between because you got different lighting, you've got just there's a depth here going
Mhm.
on where she's very sharp, they're not so sharp. So with a little gradient fill and some levels, they look, I mean, she's definitely in front of them, but that's how it should be.
Yeah,
So but it looks a little flatter, it looks a little more like
they're
even.
together. Yeah,
Yeah. So put that, bring it over here. I grabbed a great Paramore background graphic here.
it does look
Just,
solid.
looking through. So now pretty much all I need to do is add in the logos that we need, add in the Twitter handle, and this thing will be ready to ship here shortly. Let me grab my Scott Fish bowl. Where?
The elusive Scott Fish Bowl.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I don't know why I'm looking at it online. I've got it. Boom. Right there. Embed that. And now let's see where we want these tattoos to go. So I definitely think she could use a nice fishbowl neck tattoo. Yeah, I think that's looks pretty good. Not too much warping needing to happen there. I mean, I guess I could do a little bit, especially on this one. Warp. How do I want to do this? I want to find free distort. I just kind of want it to. I did. I swear I did something.
Maybe.
Yeah. Free distort. Come on. Huh. It says it did something. Did not. Let's see if I can pull in this guy and just take the anchor. Come on. Hmm. What do we got here? Doesn't always work the first time I want it to. Can I bloat it?
See, and this is all common as we talk to ourselves and kind of almost to an extent, like kind of put ourselves into a thought process of, oh, this actually works. Oh, can this work? I think this works.
Yeah. I'm going to. You know what? Am I? Okay. Just double checking, making sure I didn't put that on a different. Yeah. It doesn't look like it wants to do anything. I'm just going to leave it. There's not much distorting I would want to do anyways to that to make it look rounded because it's going to be so small that it's still going to be a little difficult to see. Um but actually what I might do is instead of that, why don't we put the fishbowl, the SFB there?
That's not a bad idea.
That makes more sense. See what kind of font I want to use. So one thing with Paramore, they in fact, what I'm going to do is from my own Avi, I have some grunge text.
So you were all about that grunge.
I really am. I love pop punk. I love that aesthetic. It is, and I feel like putting some hand sketching into your products just kind of takes it up to 11.
Ah, pun intended or not. See, Illustrator is one of those programs I've never really like latched onto. There's just something about it. I don't know. Like I've tried, and it's like I think I spent so much time in Photoshop early on that I've just
Hmm.
kind of learned how to do things in Photoshop that I should probably be doing in Illustrator. Um, it's a terrible habit. It's a very terrible habit.
Yeah. Well, here's like one thing that I can, you can do a little better in Illustrator than Photoshop. And, I was watching you guys wrap text yesterday
Yes,
in a
this is very
circle.
true. Yep.
And man, Illustrator, it is just so nice to be able to go in here and I got to go back to that. I got to get his Twitter handle here at SAW 11671. That did not go in at all. Come on. Just W 11671. Yeah. And for me, every Adobe program has its own
Ups and
purpose.
downs.
Well, it's their own purpose, really.
Yeah, that
Um,
too.
like a Photoshop is really it. So you've got raster images and you have vector images. And this is really, we're starting to get into a design lesson here, but raster means pixels, and vector actually means it's a formula, or it's like I mean, it's a math equation essentially. So what that allows you to do is like, so pixels are a defined size. They are whatever one pixel is. And so you stack the pixels together, and they change colors, and that's what you get an image out of. But with vector, you're talking about an equation. An equation doesn't matter how big or small it is. It is what it is. So you take in Illustrator, you can create something that could go on the side of a building. You go downtown Cleveland, and you see the LeBron James on the side of the building. Um, that size, I wouldn't say necessarily that that was made in Illustrator, because they could have just had a really big Photoshop, uh, or yeah, Photoshop
That would be a massive
artboard.
file.
Yeah, I'm sure it was a massive file. It had to be for that quality anyways. But um, ooh, that's kind of cool. In the sense of style, sizing and everything, when you create something in Illustrator with vector, and you save it in the proper format, it doesn't matter the size. You can put it on something like a t-shirt at whatever size, or some on the side of your house. Like, it'll just scale up and look the way it should every time. So that's the difference really between Photoshop and Illustrator, is just raster versus vector. Where pixels, like if you stretch them, you get fuzziness. It
Mhm.
looks bad
Yeah,
in there.
I like to explain it this way, to especially people who are newer to it,
Hmm.
especially if they're comic book fans. Look, think of a vector as like in Spider-Man terms, like symbiote, like Venom. It's going to morph to whatever you want it to do. It's going to adhere. It's going to stretch. It's going to do whatever it can to get it to what you want it to do.
Hmm.
Really, that's kind of the the best way to explain it for the non-designer types like us. Um, really, outside of
Yeah.
that, and then if you don't watch Spider-Man or understand any of that, then that's all
Hmm.
I got. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. I'm trying to get this purple. I really like this purple to add in. Yeah, I think I got it. I think there it is. And now, so I am a little bit of a stickler when it comes to my fonts and kerning. I want to bring you in.
Give a little bit more space there between that. Was it one and W?
Actually, the numbers were way too spaced out
Yeah.
compared, but I do want to give some space added here.
It is amazing though how many fonts do run into this issue, and I don't think a lot of people necessarily realize it. Um, but this is incredibly common, uh,
Yeah.
which is very frustrating.
And I think most people don't even realize it. Like, being a designer, I go out and, I call it out in the wild, out in the world, and I see problems everywhere. Like,
Yeah,
it's one of those things where it
it's easily overlooked.
yeah, and I'm constantly pointing out I drive my wife a bit crazy, because I'll point out a font, or I'll point out a problem. Where, say, like, I don't know if you probably do, the font Lobster or
Yeah,
Lobster 2. It
yep,
is everywhere.
it is.
It is everywhere, and there's the one font that I'm always like, "Hey, that's Lobster." And my wife's just like, "Really? You're the only one that knows that."
Within our own communities, it's its own little thing.
Yeah.
You have that. You have Comic Sans, which will forever be the butt of every
Yeah.
design joke on the face of the earth. Well,
So
really, it's funny, how many times there's just a common font and really just variations of a said font that are used really across the board. There's like a handful of, like, I'd say 20 that
mhm.
make up like a solid 50% of the fonts out there that are like in the wild for advertising.
Oh, absolutely. Or, people just not realizing that the most common font out there, Helvetica, is literally your street signs.
Yeah.
And it's the most legible, most readable font really available. And that's why the state uses it to make sure that people, can read the street signs, the stop signs, all of that. Like, watch the movie Helvetica on Netflix, and you'll see just it's amazing just how well, like, how much it's used.
Yeah, to say the least. Yeah, I mean, Helvetica, another one, I've noticed Montserrat, being a
Mhm.
lot
I love
more.
Montserrat. I
I do
use
too.
that
We actually use it
everywhere.
for work. We use it for
Okay.
work, so I'm very familiar with it. I mean, I don't know. There was a stretch there where everything was in Arial font too. It's starting to die
Yeah.
off a little bit, but
Yeah, not so much of a fan there. But so just I think I'm done here. So looking at what this guy wants, I got his Twitter handle. He has no site affiliations or logos. He wanted to have SFB logo tattooed on each member. I didn't get each. I didn't feel like forehead tattoo or a under chin tattoo would do this guy justice. But I do have a solid fishbowl on Haley's neck, and then we've got the scratched, kind of grungy SFB 11 here, and that is it. And one of the things that I try and do with mine is my designs is try to create depth. Um, there's what is it like 8 design concepts. I can't rattle them all off, but the the most important ones, depth, contrast, and color are things that I try and put into all of my designs. And I think this one came out pretty good. There's some depth in here where you've got the Twitter handle right up front, and then you got Haley, you got the guys in the back, and then you got the background. And it's yeah, I actually really like how this came out. I had no idea that this is what I was going to produce. Um, that's how that works.
on to the next, on to the
Yeah.
next.
So I appreciate I there's a few people appreciating it. So thank you for the comments, and now I can ship this one. And what do we got? How long have we been doing this? Around
58 minutes. We're at an hour. So I think we'll round it off there. It's midnight on the East Coast, so
Yep.
we're at the same time being probably bedtime theater for a lot of people getting ready to hit the hay for the night. So we have yeah, the Grateful Dead one that we set up here a little bit earlier, and Nate, your Paramore one again. We had no idea what we were doing an hour ago.
Yeah.
So, working on the fly, that's what we do here. This is what we're all about, what we set up to do here with the Avi Makers. And again, if you were a part of Scott Fishbowl 11, head over to the URL here at the bottom of the screen, sfbavimakers.com. Order your avatar and or your banner for your Twitter profile as well. $10 for an avatar, an extra 10 for a banner, all going to Fantasy Cares. As we discussed last night, ultimately raising money for Toys for Tots, again, across the country, filling up shopping cart after shopping cart full of toys for children in need. Fantastic cause. And again, it grows every year. We're on a very fast pace to blow by last year's numbers with these avatars. So everything is on the up and up, and we are about 3 weeks away from the draft starting up here for Scott Fishbowl. So we have a busy 3 weeks coming up here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just thrilled to be a part of everything. I've looked from the outside in for the Avi Makers for past couple years. Mainly, I just graduated from college actually about 2 years ago. So, when I was in college, it was difficult to consider trying to put the amount of work that goes into this that I see you guys doing during that time. And so this year everything aligned. It was just like perfect timing. I got brought in and I was ready to go. So I,
Off and
I'm
running.
this stuff is fun. I really enjoy even the live stream. So please, anytime you want to do this, invite me back on. I'm ready.
That we will. We're gonna have. I'm hoping on an almost daily basis we'll come out here and have a chance to check everything out. And again, check out the site. Nate built it, made it very easy to place orders and get things rolling. And I'm assuming by the end of tomorrow we'll be around the 250 mark, which I don't think we hit for a very long time. Looking at last year, but I could be wrong. Who knows at this point? But again, go get your avatars if you have not already. If you're playing in Scott Fishbowl, and we have a great group of designers, about 20 of us, working on these over these next couple weeks, and have eclipsed $3,500. So off and running and ready and raring to go.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
with that being said, I think we'll end the night here. We'll be back another night here very soon. Both Nate and myself, Bob, and the rest of the crew with the SFB Avi Makers to show you guys a little bit of a behind the curtain look at what goes into everything leading up to the Scott Fishbowl draft. So until next time, have a wonderful evening. And again, check out sfbavimakers.com for all your Scott Fishbowl graphic needs. Have a good night, everybody.